Rachel and I are going to the Louvre today, which is very exciting because I don't think she's been in a really long time. I haven't been since
Rachel Zegler has often spoken about her gratitude for the love and support she's received since stepping into the Hollywood spotlight. She's mentioned countless times how surreal it feels to be embraced by such a passionate audience, saying she sometimes has to pinch herself to believe it's real. But recently, that warmth has been replaced by tension, controversy, and online chaos. What began as a dream project, Disney's highly anticipated live-action Snow White, has turned into a public spectacle filled with rumors, resentment, and accusations. The internet is ablaze with speculation that Rachel's rocky relationship with her co-star Gal Gadot, who plays the evil queen, may be fueled by something deeper than creative disagreement. Many believe envy lies at the heart of the drama. On paper, Rachel had everything to gain. Landing the lead role in one of Disney's most iconic fairy tales should have been a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity, the role that would cement her as a new face of Disney magic. Yet instead of becoming the fairy tale princess adored by millions, Rachel has found herself entangled in controversy, while the spotlight quietly shifted toward her co-star. Gal Gadot, known worldwide for her radiant charm, magnetic confidence, and effortless poise, has managed to steal hearts both on and off screen. Her graceful interviews, calm composure, and easy smile have made her the media darling of the film's promotion, and that hasn't gone unnoticed. Audiences have drawn attention to the irony in the casting choices. Gal Gadot, often listed among the world's most beautiful women, plays the evil queen, a character whose entire story arc revolves around her jealousy of Snow White's beauty. This twist in casting has left many fans and critics puzzled. Memes and online posts have exploded across social media questioning how the fairest of them all could possibly be portrayed by someone opposite Gal Gadot, whose appearance and aura naturally command attention. The situation has even sparked debates about visual storytelling, realism, and Hollywood's modern approach to casting. The optics alone, many argue, make the story feel unintentionally absurd. And at the center of it all is Rachel, trying to navigate an internet storm she never saw coming. Unfortunately, Rachel's own behavior online hasn't helped her case. A now infamous Instagram post where she wrote, "I'm the fairest, by the way," has been dissected endlessly across platforms. What may have been intended as playful confidence was quickly interpreted as arrogance or shade toward her co-star. When critics pointed out inconsistencies in her tone and appearance, Rachel doubled down in a series of defensive posts. She explained that she, like everyone else, uses filters on photos, joking about how one made her look pink as hell. She described herself as an olive-toned queen and pushed back against accusations of racial or cultural confusion. "You don't have to give me any more racial identity confusion than I already have," she said. But instead of cooling the fire, her words only made it burn brighter. Fans accused her of insecurity, deflection, and even narcissism. The post, meant to clarify her intentions, became yet another flashpoint in a growing narrative that Rachel Zegler was trying too hard to control her image, while Gal Gadot remained serene, unaffected, and gracious. Gal's interviews radiate warmth. Her laughter feels natural, her compliments sincere. Even when asked about controversies or awkward topics, she responds with calm dignity. She doesn't need to prove herself. Her presence alone does that. Rachel, on the other hand, has struggled to win over the same goodwill. Her interviews have often been labeled insufferable or self-important. Comments meant to sound empowering have instead come across as dismissive or condescending to audiences. The contrast couldn't be sharper. One actress embodies effortless grace, the other seems constantly on the defensive. And as every new clip, meme, and headline circulates, the public has taken sides, transforming what should have been a fairy tale collaboration into a modern-day Hollywood rivalry. But perhaps what's most fascinating about this entire saga is what it says about fame itself. Rachel Zegler entered the industry young, confident, and outspoken, qualities that once made her a fan favorite. Yet as she's faced criticism, those same traits have been reframed as arrogance and ego. Meanwhile, Gal Gadot, a decade older and far more experienced, represents the opposite: composure, restraint, and an aura of effortless likability. The story has become less about Snow White and more about two women embodying opposite archetypes: light and shadow, confidence and grace, ambition and serenity. In a strange twist of fate, their dynamic off-screen now mirrors the fairy tale they were cast to portray. a young woman struggling to prove her worth, and a queen who already holds all the power. Whether Rachel's frustrations truly stem from envy or from the relentless pressure of public scrutiny remains up for debate. But one thing is certain. The battle between Snow White and her evil queen has escaped the fairy tale world and spilled into the real one, captivating audiences around the globe. This isn't just a story about a movie anymore. It's a story about image, perception, and the unforgiving spotlight of modern celebrity, where even the fairest of them all can't escape the mirror's harsh reflection. As the debate intensifies, one thing is undeniable. Rachel Zegler has become one of the most polarizing figures in Hollywood today. What began as excitement for a Disney princess revival has turned into a cultural tug-of-war, with Rachel at the center of a storm she never intended to create. Her ongoing struggle for acceptance, constantly magnified under the glare of social media, has made her a lightning rod for criticism. And every comparison to Gal Gadot, calm, composed, and endlessly adored, only sharpens the contrast. When the internet decides you're the villain, can you ever truly recover? That question has never felt more relevant. The digital world's imagination knows no bounds, and Rachel Zegler now finds herself trapped within a narrative that keeps reinventing itself in unexpected ways. The latest twist? A fan-made animated short that has gone viral across multiple platforms, reimagining Snow White in a way no one saw coming. In this viral animation, the roles are completely reversed. Rachel's Snow White, traditionally the innocent heroine, is depicted as cunning, manipulative, and vain, while Gal Gadot's evil queen is portrayed as a misunderstood savior, a figure of grace and quiet strength. The short, dripping with sharp humor and biting irony, mirrors the very criticisms Rachel has faced in real life: entitlement, defensiveness, and a perceived lack of humility. What started as simple fan satire has evolved into a powerful commentary on celebrity culture itself. The video's creator may have intended it as parody, but audiences have embraced it as symbolic truth. To many viewers, the short encapsulates the growing belief that Rachel isn't just miscast as Snow White, she's misaligned with the essence of the character altogether. Meanwhile, Gal's animated counterpart shines as a beacon of dignity and elegance, embodying the same warmth and confidence fans associate with the real Gal Gadot. The animation paints her as the hero of the story, not through magical power, but through emotional authenticity. Every frame seems to celebrate her poise and charm, reinforcing her image as Hollywood's untouchable sweetheart. Each repost, each meme, each sarcastic comment pushes the narrative further, that Rachel is the real-life antagonist of her own fairy tale. The animation, now shared millions of times, has become more than just a viral trend. It's a cultural symbol. It reflects a deep divide between how these two stars are perceived, one seen as effortlessly gracious, the other as perpetually defensive. For Gal Gadot, the short film is an unexpected gift. It cements her position as the fan favorite, the woman who doesn't need to speak loudly to be heard. Her aura of composure stands in stark contrast to the backlash Rachel faces daily, a contrast that continues to define public perception. But for Rachel, the challenge is immense. How do you change the story when the internet has already written your ending? How do you reclaim your image when millions have decided you're the villain of the tale? The uphill battle ahead of her is not just about public relations. It's about rewriting an entire narrative crafted by the world's most unforgiving audience. Behind the polished smiles and red carpet moments of the Snow White press tour, tension simmers just below the surface. Observant fans have noticed it: the subtle body language, the fleeting expressions. While Gal Gadot glides through interviews with radiant confidence, flashing megawatt smiles and effortlessly charming the media, Rachel's demeanor often reads as tense, distant, and disengaged. Clips from press events have gone viral showing Rachel appearing uncomfortable or distracted as Gal dominates the room with ease. Online commentators have speculated that this visible discomfort stems from professional jealousy, that Rachel is struggling to come to terms with her co-star's overwhelming popularity and grace. For a young actress once hailed as Hollywood's next big thing, watching the spotlight shift can't be easy. Adding to the fire is the perception that Gal's likability is natural, even unintentional. She wins over fans without effort, a warmth that seems genuine, not strategic. In contrast, Rachel's attempts to appear relatable often come off as forced or overcompensating. Her every word and facial expression are analyzed, dissected, and spun into headlines.
Never believed me, and if you've been watching me since I was 15 and singing covers of show tunes on on my bed.
Past controversies only deepen the divide. In previous interviews, Rachel's remarks about the original Snow White story were widely criticized as dismissive and arrogant, painting her as ungrateful for the very legacy that made her role possible. Critics accused her of lacking respect for Disney's history, a stark contrast to Gal Gadot's elegant, appreciative tone whenever she speaks about her character. The juxtaposition is glaring. Rachel's perceived bitterness versus Gal's calm confidence. One appears defensive, the other secure. One speaks of empowerment in a way that feels combative. The other embodies it effortlessly. And in the ruthless world of online perception, effortlessness always wins. The narrative has now transcended Hollywood gossip. It's become a cultural mirror reflecting how the public measures grace, confidence, and authenticity in women under pressure. Rachel's struggle to reclaim her image may ultimately determine not just her career trajectory, but whether she can escape the internet's unforgiving fairy tale, where once you're cast as the villain, the redemption arc is nearly impossible to write. Behind the glossy smiles and polished interviews, tension lingers quietly in the air. While Gal Gadot continues to exude the calm elegance of a seasoned professional, unfazed by gossip or controversy, Rachel Zegler appears to be grappling with the mounting pressure of public perception. Every glance, every soundbite, every reaction is dissected under a microscope. Her co-star's magnetic charm only makes things harder. If there was ever a chance for a genuine friendship between them, it now feels like that moment has slipped away. What once might have been a collaborative sisterhood has turned into an invisible competition. The script has flipped, and Rachel seems to be constantly trying to catch up to an image she can't quite reach. Gal moves with quiet confidence. Rachel seems trapped in the weight of her own expectations. Rachel Zegler's rise was once the stuff of Hollywood dreams. From Broadway prodigy to a Golden Globe winner and Disney's new princess, her career trajectory looked unstoppable. She was the industry's new it girl, hailed as the future of Hollywood, talented, outspoken, and radiant. But that same light that elevated her now burns under the heat of relentless scrutiny. Over the past year, Rachel has found herself standing at the center of a public storm. The actress once celebrated for her authenticity is now facing accusations of arrogance, entitlement, and hypocrisy. What was once seen as confidence is now branded as ego. What used to be refreshing honesty is now seen as unfiltered arrogance. A major turning point came when Rachel made dismissive remarks about the original 1937 Snow White. Calling it outdated and mocking its classic love story, she alienated Disney's most loyal fans. Her comments were meant to sound progressive, a modern take on the princess narrative, but instead, they were received as condescending and disrespectful toward a beloved piece of film history. For generations of viewers, the original Snow White wasn't just a movie. It was a cornerstone of childhood nostalgia and Disney's magic. When Rachel joked about not needing a prince to save her, it didn't come across as empowerment. It came across as disdain for the story that gave her the opportunity she now has. From that moment, things began to unravel. Clips of her interviews started circulating online, often stripped of context, painting her as dismissive and arrogant. Fans who once championed her spirit began to turn away. Critics accused her of lacking gratitude, while casual viewers described her interviews as unbearable or smug. The once rising star was now under siege. Hollywood's handling of her image didn't help. Instead of leaning into her strengths, her voice, her charisma, her relatability, studios and PR teams overhyped her too soon. They branded her as the next great star before audiences had the chance to genuinely connect with her. When the backlash came, the machine that built her image couldn't protect her from it. Rachel's attempts to defend herself on social media, though human, only seemed to make things worse. Each post meant to explain or clarify came across as defensive, even combative. The internet, ever eager for drama, twisted her words into proof of the very traits she was accused of having. The harder she tried to reclaim the narrative, the deeper she sank into it. Meanwhile, Gal Gadot continues to glide effortlessly through the chaos. Her interviews radiate warmth and composure, her tone always calm, her smile always sincere. She doesn't need to defend herself. Her silence speaks volumes. Fans praise her natural poise, and her confidence feels effortless, uncalculated. The contrast between the two women has become symbolic. Gal is grace under pressure, while Rachel is the cautionary tale of how quickly Hollywood can turn on its own. For many, this entire situation has become more than celebrity gossip. It's a reflection of the way fame works in the digital age: unpredictable, merciless, and magnified. The same platforms that once lifted Rachel into stardom now amplify every misstep. The same audiences that adored her performances now dissect her personality. What was once a fairy tale has twisted into something darker. The spotlight that once felt warm and welcoming now feels like a target. Every word she speaks is analyzed, every emotion questioned, every silence filled with speculation. Whether Rachel can recover from this remains uncertain. Some believe she can rebuild, evolve, and rise above the noise. Others think the damage is already done, that the public has written her into the role of villain, and no PR strategy can rewrite that script. But one thing is undeniable. The fairy tale dream that once promised endless possibility has turned into a cautionary story about fame, perception, and the fragile balance between confidence and humility. The girl once chosen to play the fairest of them all now finds herself staring into a mirror that reflects something far more complicated. A reminder that in the kingdom of modern celebrity, the line between princess and villain can vanish in an instant. When off-screen drama begins to eclipse the movie itself, someone always pays the price. And in the case of Disney's Snow White remake, the question on everyone's mind is, who will take the biggest hit? What was supposed to be a dazzling fairy tale revival, a triumphant return of one of Disney's most iconic stories, has instead become a public relations nightmare. The film is now buried under the weight of rumors, rivalries, and relentless headlines about the tension between its two stars, Rachel Zegler and Gal Gadot. Instead of anticipation for the movie's release, the spotlight has shifted to the off-screen feud, and that shadow grows darker by the day. For Rachel Zegler, the stakes couldn't be higher. Once heralded as Hollywood's next breakout star, she was the face of Disney's new generation, talented, outspoken, and unapologetically modern. But that promising narrative has been rewritten by controversy. From her dismissive remarks about the original Snow White to her perceived hostility toward Gal Gadot, Rachel has alienated not only fans, but also insiders within the industry. Public perception has turned brutal. What once made her seem bold now makes her appear brash. What once felt refreshing now feels rebellious in the wrong way. And in a business that thrives on image, perception is everything. If Snow White falters at the box office, whether due to controversy, audience backlash, or fatigue from endless remakes, Rachel is the one who stands to lose the most. Hollywood has a short memory, but a long blacklist. Studios are risk-averse, and the fear of controversy can end a career faster than failure ever could. An actress branded as difficult or divisive can quickly find herself cut out of major projects, replaced by someone safer, quieter, more predictable. For Rachel, whose career was just beginning to bloom, that's a terrifying possibility. Meanwhile, Gal Gadot seems to be weathering the storm with remarkable ease. Despite her own share of criticism, including backlash tied to her political affiliations, Gal's public image remains remarkably intact. Her signature grace, her veteran professionalism, and her global fan base have insulated her from much of the damage. Gal's reputation as a franchise star, cemented through her role as Wonder Woman and her partnerships with massive brands, gives her a stability that Rachel simply doesn't have yet. While Rachel's every move is being dissected online, Gal's name continues to carry the weight of established success. To the industry, she's a proven asset, polished, marketable, and safe. But the fallout from this feud stretches far beyond the actresses themselves. Disney, once confident that Snow White would be a guaranteed hit, now faces a potential disaster of its own making. The studio's controversial decision to race swap and reimagine a beloved fairy tale already divided audiences long before filming wrapped. Now, with the star's drama-dominating headlines, fan skepticism has turned into outright hostility. For a company that has built its empire on nostalgia, alienating the audience that grew up with these stories is a dangerous game. Each remake's success depends on rekindling the emotional connection audiences feel to the original. And when that connection is replaced by frustration, the results can be catastrophic. Industry analysts are already speculating that the Snow White controversy could send ripples through Disney's future lineup. Projects that rely heavily on brand trust and childhood nostalgia may now face tougher roads ahead. If this film underperforms, it won't just be a setback. It'll be a warning sign that audiences are no longer willing to overlook behind-the-scenes drama for the sake of movie magic. At the heart of it all lies a simple truth about Hollywood. When the off-screen story becomes bigger than the one on screen, someone always pays the price. For Rachel Zegler, the cost could be devastating. A career that once promised endless potential now hanging by a thread. For Gal Gadot, it's little more than a momentary distraction, a temporary storm she'll walk through with her usual poise. And for Disney, the gamble might not pay off at all. A movie meant to revive a timeless fairy tale now risks becoming a symbol of everything wrong with modern Hollywood. Overhyped, overexposed, and overshadowed by its own controversies. The cameras have stopped rolling, the premiere date draws closer, but the question remains, when the curtain rises, will anyone still be watching the movie, or will they just be waiting for the next chapter of the drama behind it?